Hello and welcome to the Big Wobble. If you are wondering where I have been the last 2 weeks, well, my blog mysteriously crashed, which had to be totally rebuilt, and I lost around 3,000 old posts. I had several experts look at the problem and not one of them could fix it. On top of that, YouTube deleted my last video from the first week of June for a copyright strike. I appealed to YouTube, having had permission from the owner of the clip in question, but YouTube refused to reinstate my video. It made me feel like a criminal, to be honest, but then I remembered Google, who own YouTube, are being investigated by French police as part of a £1.2 billion money laundering investigation, which puts my little misdemeanor in perspective. Anyway, enough about me. To be or not to be? That is the question. We know what we are, but know not what we may be. It's not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. Okay, enough. But we will know by tomorrow, in or out. Okay, on to the real news. After 60 years of inactivity, the Bristol Island volcano spews ash and gas into the South Georgia sky after heavy quake activity hits the South Atlantic island. Not to be outdone, Russia's Klyuchevsky Sopka volcano, I hope I've pronounced that properly, Eurasia's largest, spews ash a mighty 6 kilometers into the sky. The Bulusan volcano in the Philippines has a sudden eruption this week, spewing ash 2 kilometers above its crater. And the Canlaon volcano, also in the Philippines, erupts ash 2 kilometers into the sky this week in what has been a busy week for volcanoes. It's not just volcanoes, there has been some really crazy weather out there this last week. Nuuk was last week warmer than New York as Greenland records its warmest temperature in June ever. They also recorded their warmest April on record.
It's simply unbearably hot. You can't really see it, but you sure can feel it. And it feels like you're sitting in an oven with hot wind blowing at you from day to night. It's very hard to work like this. It's sweaty. Sometimes we get dizzy. Every summer I get seriously ill, Muhammad Zakir says. But he has no choice. His family depends on him, so he cycles, earning less than $5 a day. I've only been walking for about 10 minutes right now, and I'm already soaking. It's hard to imagine how daily wage laborers who have to work in the sun all day and don't have access to modern amenities like air conditioning, fans, and many times even water, how they deal with it.
And a heat emergency plan was imposed this week as Houston heat hit 108 degrees Fahrenheit, 42 degrees Celsius. We also had a snowstorm in Hawaii just days before official summertime begins. The photo is from the Mauna Kea Observatory, which I must emphasize is 13,000 feet high. Nevertheless, it's very unusual for a snowstorm this time of the year.
The moving world starts to shut down at 120 degrees Fahrenheit. The power grid strain as airlines decide whether planes should take off. At that point, people search out cold water and a little shade. The Southwest is currently experiencing this heat wave that are approaching all-time records in the mid-120s. Kevin Kalkbrenner, Phoenix Director of Homeland Security, says people need to realize they are really in a life-threatening situation if they don't wet themselves down and drink water.
Drenched by days of heavy rain, thousands of homes in central Java are inundated, most damaged by water, some buried under avalanches of mud. The island's longest river, the Bengawan Solo, has overflowed its banks. Flash floods sending residents to higher ground.
The forecast for heavy rains is expected to last another 3 days. Right now, we are focused on warning those affected and saving lives.
A month's rain fell in 1 hour as Australia's east coast is hit once more with floods after more torrential rains this week. And they claimed they had never ever seen rain like this before, as zero visibility hits the state of Michigan after a cloudburst from a terrifying microstorm. People claimed a whiteout from the intense rain. A month's rain in a couple of hours kills 3 and thousands of livestock in Niger, the latest West African country to be devastated by floods this year. 20 people dead and more than 250,000 evacuated, and 325,000 hectares of crops destroyed as devastating floods hit China this week. A massive quake in April is thought to be responsible for landslides, as devastating floods hit Japan, with half a month's rain which fell in just 2 hours. The magnitude 7 quake in April, followed by more than 1,700 aftershocks, broke up the ground in many areas and is thought to be responsible for the landslides. This week's Quake Watch, we had 2 major quakes in the Vanuatu Islands this week, a 6.2 and a 6.3. Yesterday we had a magnitude 6.1 on the northern mid-Atlantic ridge and a magnitude 6.1 in Papua New Guinea, both coming in less than 1 hour of each other. It brings the total number of major quakes in June to 12 and the total for the year to 81.